A very good morning for all the audience and the panelists. My name is Sindhumati Sukumar. I am the moderator for this forum. It is a great day today to discuss about the preservation of heritage monuments. Heritage monuments is legacy of tangible and intangible heritage asset of a society that is inherited from the past generation. For example, Taj Mahal in India, Pyramid of Giza in Egypt, Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Some of these incredible sites has been attracting tourism for hundreds of years and are as fascinated now as we were when we are first uncovered. But for, but for today, we are going to talk about the preservation of heritage monument in our country, and that is the Itam War Memorial Park in Penang. Before we proceed to our forum, I would like to introduce our two important guests today. Our first guest, Dr. Dalili Shamina, is a head of conservation management, and Dr. Elvina as the director of heritage building. Hi, Dr. Dalili.
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you for inviting me for this forum in this
Thank
forum.
you. Okay. How are you, Miss Elvina?
Hello, I am fine and I hope all of us are in a pink of health too.
Nice to meeting you all. Well, before we start the forum in detail, monuments are the buildings or structures for their famous architecture and culture heritage. They are durable and famous for their symbol of past. We get lot of historical and political information for the monuments. They can be a variety type for us. For example, mosque, church, temple, and war memorials. Monuments remind us for our heritage. They are like a treasure of nation, a symbol of pride of our civilizations. They help us to appreciate our past and the pride of the nation to develop the knowledge and thoughts. In a way, they provide our life to our past. They serve as an important source and evidence of the history to the insight the tourism. So today we are going to talk about how to preserve the monument in our country, which is the Itam War Memorial Park in Penang. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Dalili to describe about this monument.
Thanks to the moderator for giving me the opportunity to share about the Itam War Memorial Park, also known as Penang Overseas Chinese Anti-War Memorial Park. Situated in Penang, Malaysia, the Penang Overseas Chinese Anti-War Memorial was originally built in 1946 by the Penang China Relief Fund, a Penang-based fundraising organization commemorate the Penang Chinese who died under Japanese occupation in World War II and the Nyan transport volunteers who died while volunteering their service during the Sino-Japanese War at Burma Road, China. A sheet of the bones of many martyrs who died during World War II collected from all over Penang were buried under the whitewashed obelisk. The memorial was built in 1946, officiated by the late Mr. Lim Liang Ten in 1951.
Wow, that's amazing. I think this is the most incredible place with full of history in our country. Doctor, can you explain why do we preserve culture heritage in our country?
Okay, thank you for the question. The way to preserve the cultural heritage in our country is hold campaigns, talks, and exhibitions to revive the cultural heritage. Next, the school can hold reciprocal poetry and traditional dance competitions to develop this culture. In addition, encourage the exhibition of artifacts or cultural history of various races in Malaysia.
Absolutely great ideas. Thanks, Doctor, for answering my questions. All right, next I'm interested to know why should we preserve the monuments? Doctor, can you please elaborate?
Thank you, moderator. The importance of preserving historic buildings or monuments can be used as strong evidence of historical events that have happened to future generations. We already know that a historic buildings or monument means a building but to commemorate a person who has served or an important event that has taken place. Although Malaysia has achieved independence for more, the impact left by colonialists such as the British, Dutch, and Portuguese can still be seen and needs to be nurtured and preserved. In addition, historic bodies are very important for the current generation and future generation because with the existence of historic bodies, we can prove that the story of Malaysia that has been recorded by famous writers is something realistic and not fairy tale, mythos or mere legend.
Thank you for the clear explanation about the importance to preserve the heritage monument. I hope each and everyone watching this should preserve the heritage monument for the future generation. Well, Dr. Dalili, how do you think historical tourist attraction promote in Malaysia?
Thank you for that great question. Yes, I think the way historical places are promoted in Malaysia is to be more creative and proactive in promoting existing products. Being creative here means being more prepared to compete healthily with overseas tourism product which are apparently gaining a place in the hearts of tourists. Therefore, the government needs to provide various infrastructure to support the country's tourism industry. Not only that, various government agencies were created to empower this industry.
Yes, I agree with that. I think this is the best way to promote our historical tourism in Malaysia. Thank you very much, Dr. Delili, for all the explanation. Before moving to our next part, I would like to ask if there is any question from the audience.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Azan. I am a reporter from Sejarah Malaysia magazine. Thanks for the invitation. I want to ask a few questions for the panel, which is Dr. Dalili Shamina as Head of Building Conservation. All right, Doctor. Just now you said that you is going to preserve the Itam War Memorial Park in Penang, right? Why do you prefer Itam War Memorial Park to be preserved? Is it not preserved and forgotten by the people nowadays? And another question is, why the Itam War Memorial Park is not as popular as Tugu Negara, Formosa, and Christchurch, Malacca?
Thank you, Azan, for the question. As we know, Malaysia has many historical monuments such as a Formosa Melaka, Southpost Church Melaka, Christchurch, and others. I prefer Itam War Memorial Park to be preserved because I would like to introduce to the public that there are many other historical monuments in Malaysia that are not popular like the monument in Malacca. If it begins to be forgotten, then it will not be taken care of when forgotten. Malaysia will lose one of the assets that can be used as a tourist attraction. Nowadays, people only know Malacca as a place that full of historical monuments. They prefer Malacca because they only know Malacca as a historical city in Malaysia while many other while many other places have more interesting historical monuments, especially in Penang. Penang has its own history and not everyone is except historians. Just like in Malacca, Penang also have many historical monuments, especially Itam War Memorial Park. That's all from me. Thank you.
You're welcome. I also have another question. Dr. Dedili, you mentioned that the monument can be used as a strong evidence of historical events for the generation. With the existing of historic buildings, they will believe that the history is real. So, Doctor, do you know the present generation is not interested in history anymore? So it is not impossible that future generation will not be interested to history as well. In your opinion, how to make the younger generation interested in history?
As I mentioned just now, we need to provide yearly exposure at the school level for the students. As a teacher, we need to teach students about history effectively. Many students hate history because of its overly complicated and boring content. So every teacher needs to be creative in teaching students so that they become interested in learning story in more depth. Besides that, parents should also give encouragement to children for them to be interested to history. Parents need to take their children to the popular historical places in the country. In this way, they can see the historical evidence with their own eye.
All right, thank you, doctor, for answering my question.
All right, next I would like to invite Dr. Elvina as the Director of Heritage Building to tell us more information. Doctor, why do you think that is it important to protect archaeology sites?
Before starting, I would like to say thank you to the moderator for having me today, and I hope all of us that join this forum today will gain a piece of new knowledge. So, without further ado, I would like to state why protecting archaeological sites is important. I can say that there's a lot of reason why is it important to protect archaeological sites. But for today's forum, I will set two main reasons which are from the social sector and economic sector. For the social sector, the importance to protect archaeological sites is can teach the society that has the weak spirit of patriotism. Based on what we can see today, our society, especially teenagers, are more likely to follow the trend from the West, and if done too much, it can lead to a society that does not know about their own country. Therefore, with this existence of archaeological sites, our society can notice that and they will be interested to learn about the archaeological site so that the archaeological site can be a patriotism booster to our society which can change a weak habit in patriotism to a strong spirit of braveness to protect our country from any aspect. Secondly, in economic sector. In economic sector, it can be a tourist attraction in our country. Every each of archaeological sites, such as Itam War Memorial Park, has its own story and history. People who like to study history will find this archaeological site very interesting. Thus, they will be willing to spend some money to visit and see the archaeological site. At last, this can contribute to improving the economic status in our country.
Thank you, Doctor. Now I know why it is very important for us to protect the archaeology sites. However, can Dr. Elvina explain more about what are the steps taken to protect the place or the monuments?
Just now, we already know the importance of protecting archaeological sites, and we obviously know that we need to protect them. So, here are some steps taken to protect the place or monument. First of all, we need to educate society that this archaeological site or monument are belong to the society. By that, the society will have a responsibility to protect and take a good care of it. The second step is to register the archaeological site or monument. By registering it, the government will know about the monument existence and they will recite worker to protect them. Lastly, form a volunteer group to protect this place or monument. In a conclusion, both government and society need to work together to make sure that this place or monument can last long and get protected.
Thank you for the information and interesting talk. That's really good idea. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we come again to the question and answer section. In this section, audience can directly ask their question to the guest. And don't forget to mention your name. Any questions?
Hi, I'm Muhammad from Millennia Magazine. I have a few questions for Dr. Elvina. Doctor, just now you said that teenagers nowadays is more interested with the trend from the West, and when that's too much, it can lead the teenagers to forget their own country. Undeniably, they are more interested in outside trends or cultures than their own cultures. Just look at the way they Yes, it is no longer according to its own culture. So, doctor, in your opinion, why you think the teenagers nowadays more interested with the trends and culture from the West?
Thanks for the question. In my opinion, teenagers nowadays more interested with other trend and culture because they consider their own culture is outdated. This is because nowadays we are in a modern era. Teens like to always be seen up to date. They will feel ashamed if they behave or dress like the people before from the back era, which is not modern. So they also have facility that allow them to be influenced by the outside culture. As we all know, they influence through social media. So they are more interested with the outside culture because the outside culture or trend is more modern than their own culture. Do you have
All right.
any more question?
Yes, doctor. All right. Is there some volunteer group that protect the monument? Why this volunteer association is not well known to the public?
And in fact, these volunteers are already advertising their assertion on many media, including social media. But the people did not care about it. So they also do not make financial contribution to this association to carry out their volunteer work. This causes them to do not have sufficient financial to carry out the work. So that is the reason why they are forgotten.
All right. I see. Okay. Thank you, doctor, for answering all my question. That's all for me. Thanks again.
Thank you for all the questions. Finally, we come to the conclusion of today's forum. I would like to say thanks to our guests to make this forum become more informative and interesting talk, and also the audience for active participation. Hopefully, this forum will be more beneficial for all of you to get to know how important to preserve the heritage monument. That's all for today. Bye.
Thank you all.